So as we count down in Las Vegas here this morning, Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton set to square off one last time before the last election. But instead of focusing on her, Donald Trump has really spent most of his time going after the media, going after Paul Ryan on Twitter in particular. Here's some of what he has been saying. The Democrats have a corrupt political machine pushing crooked Hillary Clinton. We have Paul Ryan always fighting the Republican nominee. And this, Paul Ryan, a man who doesn't know how to win, including failed run 4 years ago, referring to the Mitt Romney campaign, must start focusing on the budget, military, vets, etc. AJ Delgado is senior advisor to the Trump-Pence campaign, and she joins us now. AJ, good morning. Good to have you with us today.
Thank you.
Why is he wasting so much time going back and forth with Paul Ryan?
He's not wasting any time at all. Mr. Trump is spending the vast majority of his time traveling across the country, speaking about the real issues, engaging with the American public. It's unfortunately Paul Ryan who's spending time criticizing indirectly and directly Mr. Trump rather than focusing on preventing Hillary Clinton, as any good and proper conservative would, or any good and proper American patriot should try to do this election season. He's focused on trying to distance himself from Donald Trump, which will only harm Paul Ryan rather than on defeating Hillary Clinton. It's a shame.
Could be. We'll see. You know, in terms of Paul Ryan, it was really the video that seemed to be the tipping point for him in terms of his ability to support Mr. Trump. Was there any effort from Donald Trump to reach out to Paul Ryan and say, look, you know, let's have a phone conversation. I'd like to talk to you about this, and I want to keep your support. Did that ever happen?
I wouldn't be able to speak to that as to whether there was, but it would be unfortunate if a tape from 11 years ago where Mr. Trump spoke using hyperbole would be what dictates Paul Ryan's view on this election, which will dictate really the future of the country, whether that could sway his position on supporting Donald Trump or not. You know, I should point out Paul Ryan hasn't formally revoked his endorsement, and I do applaud that, but the fact that he's not willing to campaign with Mr. Trump against Hillary Clinton, despite what we've seen in WikiLeaks, despite what we know about her record and her disastrous plans for this country, it will come back to haunt Paul Ryan. He's somebody who's popular in Wisconsin, but not popular nationwide. And should he ever try to push legislation or aspire to higher national office once again, the Trump supporters will remember this. So I don't think this will work out well for Paul Ryan if he continues to try to distance himself.
You know, it seems that, though, when Mr. Trump gets sort of into this spiral of going after people on Twitter, it's very distracting to the issues of his campaign. Is there sort of a 21-day effort underway to turn this thing around? Because the polls are not looking great, and judging from everything that his campaign is saying about how rigged it is, it does give you the feeling that they're pretty concerned, too.
Well, what you call a spiral, I call a man simply defending himself against false smears, just as any person would do in that position.
So I'm just pointing out that let me just clarify myself then. I'm merely pointing out that when those episodes happen and continue, his numbers don't go up. And when he stays away from that stuff and stays focused on things like the border, ISIS, improving our position in the world, making America great again, that's when his numbers tend to get better.
Right, when he tries to stay focused on that in the media, you know, with the exception of Fox News, which has been fairly fair to him, doesn't allow him to stay focused on the issues, continues to try to distract the American public with these false, scandalous, ridiculous allegations. So he does want to get back to the issues. He is focused on the issues. He talks about them every day to thousands of Americans in public, in person, on the campaign trail. And we'll see that again in the debate. He's won the last two debates. We won the VP debate because when Donald Trump talks about the issues, the American public says, that's our guy, that's our champion. So we'll see that again on Wednesday.
All right, let's just take a look at one more of these tweets that he put out, because there have been a lot of them in the past 24, 48 hours. He says, I can't believe these totally funny stories, phony stories, not funny, phony, 100% made up by women, many already proven false and pushed big time by the press, have impact. So he's acknowledging the fact that these women coming out one after the other, pretty much at least one a day, have damaged him.
Well, absolutely. I don't think anybody would dispute that. When you have the media pushing it 24/7, of course it will make a dent. But you also have a smart, informed American public who in the past 24, 48 hours has looked at all the information that has come out and said, whoa, these stories are bogus. And that's why we've seen even elected officials who initially said, I can't support Donald Trump when the tape came out or one or two of these stories, now backtracking and saying, whoa, I spoke too soon. I do support Donald Trump. The American public is doing that as well. So we've had a little bit of a rough few days, just as anybody would, with this media onslaught of fake, false, horrifically malicious stories. But now we're seeing the American public bounce back and say, uh-oh, wait, the facts show these stories were bogus.
All right, we will see. AJ Delgado, thank you very much. Good to have you with us.
Thank you.